or you're all aware of a force in the universe, that what comes around goes around. Or in classical mythology and Greek and Roman studies, there was the goddess Nemesis that pays back hubris or arrogance. I think in Eastern philosophy and religion, the term is karma. In the New Testament, it is do unto others as you would like them to do unto you. But there is something innate to the human condition that you should not go in one direction and excess, because there's a force in the universe that corrects us and brings us back to the middle. What we call in classical terms the golden mean. Nothing too much. Know yourself.
I look at the Democrats in front of me and I realize there is absolutely nothing I can say to make them happy or to make them stand or smile or applaud. Nothing I can do.
So we're in the midst of a counter-revolution. It's not revolutionary. You know what it is? It's a return to normalcy. We have watched for the last 5 years a corruption of the American judicial system by 4 prosecutors. Fani Willis in Georgia, who was trying to magnify a phone call that Donald Trump made to the registrars into some type of RICO, corruptive act, and it was not. And that case has been dropped.
Georgia Appeals Court has just stripped Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis from the 2020 election interference case against Donald Trump.
We saw Alvin Bragg in Manhattan try to bootstrap a federal offense that the federal prosecutors did not want to prosecute.
Alvin Bragg effectively is prosecuting Donald Trump for making hush money payments, allegedly, to Stormy Daniels, and then paying Michael Cohen in a means that Alvin Bragg thinks is falsifying business record.
Donald J. Trump is guilty of 34 counts of falsifying business records in the first degree to conceal a scheme to corrupt the 2016 election.
On a non-disclosure form and claim it was campaign donation.
And while this defendant may be unlike any other in American history, we arrived at this trial and ultimately today at this verdict in the same manner as every other case that comes through the courtroom doors.
You have Alvin Bragg, a Manhattan DA who was elected on the promise of going after Donald Trump. For what crime? We had no idea. Just the idea that they had to go after Donald Trump. This is a politician keeping his campaign promise. That is a bastardization of our legal system.
We saw Jack Smith with the records, and that was asymmetrical because at the same time they were investigating Joe Biden for essentially the same crime and let him off. And then we had Letitia James on the real estate deal, which she created kind of new laws that had never existed before on minor details about forms on real estate applications, about a loan to the Deutsche Bank that they were happy.
I am going to use the law both as a sword and as a shield and challenge Donald Trump. And each and every time he issues an illegal executive order, I am going to stand up to him because he represents to me sincere ignorance and conscientious stupidity.
But my point is this. They have exceeded what the Greeks called hubris. They were arrogant. They were overweening. They were self-righteous.
In every age, pride marches first, and Nemesis follows. Victor Davis Hanson brings us a lesson as old as civilization itself. When arrogance blinds the powerful, the universe corrects them harshly. What comes around always comes around. And now, those who corrupted the law to destroy their enemy are finding themselves trapped by their own hand.
They kept bragging when in the case of James or Willis, as political animals, they kept, we're going to do this, we're going to get Trump. And then these forces in the universe said, this is wrong, and we're going to correct it. And what do we find out now? Jack Smith, the federal prosecutor, before he left his tenure, he went to the Covington law firm and he asked and received $140,000 of free legal services.
Gifts! Aha! There it is. Covington and Burling, LLP. Legal services. $140,000.
Did he pay taxes on that? That's above the gift tax. I don't know. But if any of you decide that you're going to get a gift of either services or materials or cash for $140 and you don't pay taxes, you're in big trouble. Fani Willis, well, she was removed from the case, as you know, with her paramour that she did not disclose, Nathan Wade, whom she made her lead prosecutor. They went on junkets. They didn't record their expenses. Half of them, perhaps, came from Nathan Wade's wages that were inflated by Fani Willis.
Testifies before the House Judiciary Committee. That's Nathan Wade, and he admitted he met with White House staff on several occasions while working on the investigation that was led by Fulton County DA Fani Willis. He also says he had to brush up on his knowledge of racketeering law.
She wouldn't turn over subpoenaed records. The court forced her to pay a fine of $54,000. They took her, as I said, off the case. Now she's facing an investigative inquiry by the Georgia legislature. She's in big trouble.
Judge Krause today gave the district attorney 30 days to pay Merchant $54,000. The judge wrote that the defendants, the Fulton County DA's office, were openly hostile to Merchant and failed to handle her requests in good faith.
And then we get to Letitia James. She was the most confident and kept giving us soapbox lectures about no one is above the law. It turns out that for years, she was fudging on her real estate investments in an illegal fashion. But because Nemesis always deals in irony, some of the forms that she exaggerated on or lied about were the same things that she alleged that Donald Trump had done on his forms. But it's clearly that Donald Trump had a much better case so far that he didn't do that.
A lawyer for New York Attorney General Letitia James is pushing back against claims of mortgage fraud by the Trump administration. She's accused of mortgage fraud in connection with the home in Virginia and in Brooklyn. James's attorney wrote a letter to the U.S. Attorney General, which included real estate records he says disprove the allegations.
She said that an apartment unit had fewer rooms than it did. She said that her principal residence was in Virginia, when in fact she was the New York district attorney by statute. She must live in New York those 5 years. The house that she purchased, she's not living in now. Property, she listed her father as her husband. She's committing the same type of fraud that she's alleging Donald Trump did. We don't really appreciate what we've been through with 8 years of the Obama revolution and the 4-year more radical third term of Obama, using or employing the waxen effigy of Joe Biden. A revolution that we've experienced was a cultural, economic, political, social evolution.
Our spirit is back, our pride is back, our confidence is back, and the American dream is surging bigger and better than ever before.
I'll just finish with, remember Stacey Abrams?
Last time Stacey Abrams ran for governor of Georgia, her personal finances were a mess, and back taxes it shouldn't be held against her. Still, she lost the race.
She was the one that denied she lost the 2018 gubernatorial race. She lost it by 50,000 votes. She lost it again to Mr. Kemp in 2022 by even more, a greater margin. She had a PAC or some kind of nonprofit. It had $100 in it. Then suddenly, when Biden's on his way out of office, over almost $2 billion go under her direction. And now we're learning that she was giving millions of dollars away, bought a beautiful home, and suddenly went from bankruptcy and owing the IRS and not paying her taxes in 2016. She's a millionaire. That's going to be invested.
And now, less than 4 years later, her fortunes have changed big time. Abrams just disclosed that she's worth more than $3 million.
Bottom line, be very careful, tread softly. Listen to the sages of the ages. Listen to your secular and your scripture. And no one is above the law. And all of these people felt that they were above the law. And that invisible hand of Nemesis, or God, or karma, struck them down. And it's a good lesson for all of us.
The invisible hand moves slowly, but with certainty. No one is above the law. Not kings, not prosecutors, not presidents. Today, the arrogant fall one by one. Tomorrow, it could be us. If we forget that power without principle leads only to ruin, be vigilant, be humble, and never believe that justice can be mocked without consequence.